Greetings. My name is Dr. Waddell Brooks, Sr., your host, and this is Community Forum. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an exciting program tonight. We have Mrs. Tara Thomas. Normally she's a co-host, but this time she is a guest. And she's in the capacity of the chairperson of the Lake County Branch Freedom Fund and Awards Scholarship Banquet. Greetings, Mrs. Thomas.
Good evening, Dr. Brooks.
We're very excited to have you in this capacity as guests, and you're going to be talking about you're the third vice president of the Lake County branch of the NAACP, and you have volunteered to be chairperson for the Freedom Fund and Image Award Scholarship Banquet.
Well,
that's a mouthful.
I wouldn't say I volunteered. I said I got pushed into it. But
that's normally what's happening.
Is that what happened? Okay, yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Okay, all right. All right, our guests, our audience may not have heard about the Lake County branch, but you're going to give us a little history of it. I may just start it out as 1966, I guess. I was involved with the North Chicago branch of the NAACP. And we had the Highland Park branch of the NAACP, we had the Zion branch, and the Waukegan branch. There were four branches. And in 1966, they formed one branch. In other words, this is just a county is only 750,000, you know, and that would just, we have the same problems, unique problems, and so the national office formed the Lake County branch. And since 1966, and you say this was the, how many years now?
This is 49.
The 49th year.
That's right, 1966 will be 49.
For the banquet. Well, first of all, tell us a little bit about Tara Thomas. I'm not going to let you have the whole show on Tara Thomas because we got an exciting celebration that we want to talk about, and our audience is just waiting to hear. But we have to hear something about you there.
Well, I'm Tara, and I am the executive director of North Shore Prep Foundation, which is the parent company or the beginning of a network for charter high schools. So we're hoping to bring next year North Shore College Prep, which is an all-girl college preparatory school, and the girls, it will be a similar curriculum as you'd have in Woodlands or Lake Forest Academy. And the boys, the young men school would be Great Lakes College Prep. And if you're familiar at all with urban prep, it's the same thing, except our curriculum is a little more rigorous than theirs, but we're going to have a CMO, which is a charter management organization relationship with urban prep, so that what you see there, and they're doing a phenomenal job in Chicago. And I started this as an educator. I transferred here with my husband. I didn't transfer. My husband transferred from Michigan to Illinois. And I came with him. We were living in Barrington. And I wanted to teach in a more diverse community. So I went to the school at that time. I was receiving my master's. So I was working on my master's at Trinity International University. And they suggested I come to North Chicago. I had never heard of North Chicago. And the things I heard about it were totally false when I went to North Chicago. It was 1,000 times better than the image I had of North Chicago. You know, I didn't feel, I never felt afraid. I was told it was a dangerous place to go. The kids were horrible.
Oh, they were talking about probably the north side of Chicago.
I don't know what they were talking about, but they weren't talking about North Chicago. And so maybe that's what they were talking about, the north side. And so when I came, I found the kids to be really nice kids. You know, I loved all my students, and I ended up teaching for 2.5 years at Forrestal. Learning under Dr. Cassandra Brooks, who, by the way, is receiving the Educator of the Year award this year from NAACP. One of the thousands of awards she has on her wall since the president's, you know, she received the President's Award in 2013, I think, or 12.
Now that's President Barack Obama?
Barack Obama. So we don't know how our award is going to look next to his, but she is our Educator of the Year anyway. And then I left there, and after teaching for a while and learning under Dr. Brooks, Sandra Brooks, and I worked for Dr. Daisy Brooks, which was very interesting because Dr. Daisy Brooks is, she appears to be this little quiet woman. You don't want to get on her bad side, okay? She runs that school, which was great because I learned both of their teaching styles and was able to manipulate it into, or their administrative styles, I should say. And I was able to manipulate that into mine. So I'm hoping that when our school opens, when they come to visit, they'll see a little bit of Daisy, a little bit of Dr. Cassandra, and that's what I'm doing. So I'm excited to live here, and we're getting ready to move closer to this part of the state because it's just more convenient because our school's going to be out here.
Very good. And I'd just like to mention that you have been traveling all over the country, getting support for scholarship and also of the background for your school. And your husband is a pilot. He's been taking you around.
He takes me to many of them, but most of them I fly because he has, you know, he works as well. But if I can get a, so I try to get like a Friday interview, he'll fly me to those. And I have been to 68 universities.
Wow.
And literally 68, and we've acquired a total of 176 scholarship commitments. Now, they're not going to lower their standards for our students, but what we did, and what I want my counselor of students to do, dean of counselor for schools, is to actually continue this process. So when we hire our counselor, it's going to be a traveling position. They need to continue to develop relationships with the universities. So what I did, I went out and I said, our school is not open yet, but we're going to open, and we're going to be a college prep, and I showed them our curriculum, which I wrote. And they said, wow, that's really rigorous. I said, yes. And the kids will go to school from 7:30 to 5. And then we have tutoring after school. And they only go out of school 5 weeks. So they'll go from they'll go from August 12th till June 15th. So they're really only out for a month and a week. And I said, but if we do that, and our ACT averages 28, will you commit to giving us scholarships? So from University of Michigan, Stanford, University of Pennsylvania, University of Nebraska, Iowa, Michigan State, Purdue, Notre Dame, we have commitments at least for 2 to 3 scholarships from their endowment. And why that's significant, endowment money repeats. It renews itself. So it won't be like, oh, you're just getting 1 year fully ride. No, they will get an entire full ride for a whole 4 years. So we're excited.
This is fantastic. We're going to be talking about the great celebration that's what the Lake County branch is having. Let me write it, the 49th?
49th.
Okay, I'm pretty just numbered out.
And it's November 13th. 2015.
Okay. Now, before we get deeply involved with that, you are the 3rd vice president of the Lake County branch NAACP, but you haven't had that position very long.
I've only had it 3 months. So, and I'm so honored. I called my mother. I was so excited about everything I'm doing. I think I was most excited about that because I grew up in the NAACP. My mother marched in Washington with Martin Luther King when they had over 250,000 people. She was also a representative for the Detroit branch of the NAACP.
A huge branch, too.
It is the largest one in the country. I'm proud to say. And my son, which I just found out, started an NAACP branch in Vermont. They started a month ago. So I was very excited. He's 23, he's a medical student, and they started the first branch of NAACP in Vermont, of all places.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I didn't think they had any problems up there. But people tend to want to start it where there's a need. So that's why I'm excited, because this is what my mother and father were in all my life.
Is that where Bernie Sanders is from?
Yes. In fact, my son knows him personally. He can call him on the cell phone.
Fantastic. Right. Well, what about the Lake County branch here? Give us a little history, if you want to do it, the NAACP and also Lake County branch.
Well, I can probably give you more of a history of NAACP. The NAACP actually started in 1909 as a result of a race ride in 1908 in Springfield, Illinois.
Springfield, Illinois.
I'm sorry to say that for my Illinoisans, but it did start here. I mean, Springfield now is great. I was just there. It's a wonderful place. But there was a race ride, and there was a white woman. That's why I try to tell people, NAACP is not an African-American organization. It is not. It was started as a diverse organization. In fact, the woman was Mrs. White Overton.
Mary.
Mary White Overton.
Overton White. I think
Yes.
White was the last name. Was it last
Overton
name?
White. It was one of the two.
Mary Overton White.
Yeah,
Okay.
I have it here. But anyway, she was one of the founders, along with Du Bois and several others. So it was never an all African
Tell her how
American.
that started. So she read about the race
right.
riot in Springfield. You got that?
It's Mary White Overton. You're absolutely right.
Mary White Overton.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, okay.
She read about it.
And in the Independent Register, and and she said that it's just inhumane.
Yes.
The way the riots were happening in Springfield, Illinois. So she organized, got a group, you could say Du Bois.
It was Du Bois, Charles Hamilton Houston, Oscar Mado, Harry T. and Harriet Moore, and many others. In fact, James Weldon Johnson.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And they did this because not only was there injustice in Springfield, and we don't want to put it just on Springfield. That was just a tip that caused everything to happen.
Right.
But there were a massive amount of lynchings. And so that was the basis for starting it. They were like, this has to stop. And it kind of reminds me of what we're going through right now when they say Black Lives Matter, in terms of young African Americans being stopped, harassed, and killed in many cases by the police. Now, all police do not go out killing African Americans or anybody else. But you've got this sour bunch, and we're getting protest letters from it every day. Our particular chapter. And that's really how the NAACP came about, was to meet civil needs of all people. Okay?
Just happened, I just got an email today about the National Police Association. They're organizing to push for legislation to have everyone before they get a weapon, to have checks.
A background check?
Background checks.
Yes. They had their
That's the
meeting
whole police
here.
association, national.
Well, they're meeting here in Chicago.
Oh, okay.
They've been here all week. The
Okay.
National Convention is here in Chicago.
Oh, okay.
So that
Okay.
might be why that came out. In fact, that was why President Obama came. He addressed them yesterday.
Oh, he didn't just come just for a ball game between
No.
Chicago and Cleveland.
I'm sorry to say. I'm sure he had a good time with that.
Yeah,
But his
yeah.
purpose was to be here to address the policemen's union. I don't know, what is their correct title? The police?
Yeah, I didn't bring that with
But
me.
he was here for that convention.
But it was a national police association. And I thought that was fantastic.
But it's amazing. This is 1909, and we are like 100 and almost 20 years later, and we're still having very similar issues.
Okay, so actually, I might mention just one other tidbit, is that you mentioned about all races. Oh, tell us about colored people, the name. National Association for the Advancement of Colored People.
Right, and a lot of African Americans are offended by that because they assume the colored means them, colored. But
Okay.
colored was colored people, for all colors of people, whether you were Hispanic, Middle Eastern, Jewish, white, black. It was colors of people. So we're not going to change the C because we do represent colors of people. And so that's really what it was about.
Fantastic. I'm glad that you cleared that up for Lake County.
Yeah.
Now,
Exactly.
you mentioned about Jewish association too, but the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People in 1966 was about to be dissolved.
Really?
There was a group in business people in the South, I'm not sure, I think it was Mississippi, that were losing business because of the marches and demonstrations, okay? And so what, in court, the Jewish organization came up with $800,000 bond, and that saved the NAACP. Of course, you knew that the courts were ruling the NAACP's favor, but they needed the bond. You need a bond, to come. $800,000 they came up with for that.
See, and that's a good example of how we work with other entities. In fact, we work extremely closely with the Latino Coalition.
Okay.
Almost every affair they have, and we do together collectively, as well as the Latino Caucus. The Latino Caucus is going to receive their state senator and president of the Latino Caucus is State Senator Iris Martinez, who is a phenomenal woman. But we work very, very closely with them. We still have a good relationship with the Jewish Federation out of Highland Park.
Okay.
And so we still, when they had the 4th of July, we marched in Highland Park. And when they had it here, the Highland Park Jewish affiliation of something. I can't remember the name. I beg your pardon. But they came and they walked with us to celebrate the 4th of July. So and they're probably buying a table for the dinner. We support their affairs. The Latino Coalition, they are. The Latino Caucus, they are. So that's a good thing, because when we have a problem, it's not a black problem. It's a humanity problem.
A Community Forum reaches out because a few weeks ago, I had as a guest Judith Ray Ross. She's with the Holocaust Museum.
Oh, really?
Skokie.
Yeah.
She's on the program, and she was telling me about the Holocaust, never again, you know.
Never again.
And I was telling her about the African Holocaust, you know, Africans traveling from Africa to the United States. About 100 million, you know, people got lost.
And it will be like a Holocaust, because they also came against their will. You
Okay.
know, Jewish people were persecuted against their will.
Okay, so we're all together. In other words, right now, we may have come over here on different ships,
Yes.
but we're in the same boat together now.
We are.
All right, tell us about the uniqueness. Now, I think you were giving us a little bit about the Lake County branch of the NAACP. How are you going and getting all groups coming together?
We do. Well, actually, I became a member because of you. You know, thank you for inviting. I don't know if I should thank you for inviting me or not. But at any rate,
well, I know a good person. I didn't know you had that NAACP background, but
Yeah.
you had the resemblance.
Oh, bless you, bless you. Yeah, my family, you know, they're totally for civil rights.
Right.
But this chapter has been existing. Weren't you a president?
Yes.
A past president? How old were you president?
77 to 90. It's 80. I'm sorry.
Okay.
4 years.
Okay, and my concern is that we're losing. What I see happening in our chapter right now is we're trying to rebuild.
Okay.
We have a young group called AXO, and
Oh.
they're a teen group between, I think, 8 and 19. Then we have, they call it X and Y generation.
Okay.
Megan Witherspoon is their chairman, and they're the 20 to 30-year-olds. So what we're trying to do is restructure and rebuild. People tend to come to NAACP when they have a problem.
Okay.
But one of our chief focuses or initiatives is education.
Ah.
Okay? And we stress education. This banquet is to raise money for scholarships to send students from North Chicago, from Lake County, to college. Now, these students aren't necessarily going to be African American. They could be Latino. As long as you have the GPA we want and you're in Lake County, we're here to support you. Okay? But our chapter has gotten a little smaller. People like yourself, you know, you get busy. And after you're president, and I'm sure 4 years you were a little tired, because I know how much work is involved. And so they take a rest, but we need you to come back.
But I'm really not a rest totally. My wife and I are paid up life members.
But we need you to come to the meetings and be supportive there, and help us to grow. Now, last night, as a matter of fact, we had a young man come to the meeting, and which is what people tend to do instead of coming to us for education and asking us for instructions on that.
Okay.
He came because he said there was a disturbance at Waukegan High School. Are you familiar with that?
Oh, yes.
About the teacher and misappropriation of touching another student?
Yes, I was in the papers.
Okay, so we can't get involved in that until we know all the facts. So when he came, he was on his way, well, he came with another gentleman, and they wanted us to go with them to Waukegan High School, and to, I don't know what he wanted, if he wanted us to protest or say
I guess
something.
a board meeting maybe.
Yes, but we can't do that. First of all, you need to fill out a form. We need to investigate before we take a position, because, you know, everyone has an opinion. Now, this is right now just allegations.
Okay.
So we don't have any substantial proof. So, and they'll say, well, NAACP doesn't do anything. Well, we're not reactionary, okay? We can't do that. Again, we represent everyone, and we need to know all the facts before we get involved.
This is similar to about 8 or 9 years. 9 years before my retirement, I was an equal employment opportunity officer.
Okay.
And I had many complaints, but saying it had to be written complaints, and everyone I've been discriminated against. But that's just an allegation.
Right.
And you have to fill out a complaint form. We had a complaint form, and it has to be investigated. I had an investigative team to investigate whether that it's been, you know, some legality, I mean, some, you know, substance to it, you know.
Exactly.
And so we, in many cases, we had the person realize that they have not been discriminated against. It was just a misunderstanding or...
And that can happen. And we've got to be understanding and realize everything that happens isn't racial. You know, oh, you didn't like me, oh, because I'm black. No, maybe you just have an awful personality. But like, for example, yesterday, have you seen this new video that's going where this police officer pulled a girl from the desk?
Yes, today I was watching it again.
Okay,
But he was fired.
Okay, but my concern about that is we never saw what led up to that, because when I saw the tape, the young lady was still holding on to the desk. And from what I understand, and not that that was, acceptable, but that her teacher had asked her to leave the room.
Okay.
She would not leave. The principal came in and she told her, you need to leave, we need to go home until you talk to your parents. She refused to leave, and she was disturbing the class with profanity and off-the-wall behavior. And I've seen people act like, young girls or students act like that. So then they had to call in the police. And when the police came in, they said that he asked her to leave the room. She still refused to leave the room. Then she held on to the desk, and when I saw it, I saw the desk being flung across, but she was still holding on to the desk. So I'm thinking what he did was wrong, but she provoked this situation. And I think that in all fairness, and I try to be a fair person, she was very disrespectful. And for that kind of disrespect at that school, she was that way at home.
Is that exactly? Exactly. When I had parents come to school and say, I can't do anything with this child, and they put it on the school.
Yes, they want us to fix them.
Okay.
You can't fix them. You're supposed to fix this child before you release this child.
But something has to be done more humane than what was happening, though.
I agree.
That's the only thing.
I agree, but when I try to view this, when they asked this young lady to get out of her desk, if you look at that video, she's clinging to that desk.
Don't you think that Dr. Daisy Bruce could have handled that better? She just rolled her eyes at the kids at the school, at the optional school.
She does.
And
but I'm telling you, Dr. Brooks, some of these kids out here, they're very disrespectful.
So we have to have more parental involvement.
Yes.
But they admit that they can't do anything with. So what's going on? And that's too bad. That's the reason.
So they terminated him. He was fired over this.
Yeah.
So I think it should have been a real
just today
investigation.
over email. He was fired. Yeah.
Well, we'll never know the real story behind that, probably.
Yeah. And whether that was political or not, know. But you mentioned and I was going to ask, should the NAACP be proactive or reactive? Now, there's a lot of proactive things. Now, for example, in my EO position, we had, because of unions and so forth, we didn't have the union trained people to take the trade jobs. We established what we call an upward mobility training program, where we trained the youngsters, and also we had another training program. And when I left there were people scattered all about the trade jobs, within this was the Public Works Center at
Did you work with the NAACP as an EO? Did they?
No, this was a special position, a position established by the government. Okay. Equal employment. In other words, it was like an assistant to the captain. It's on the captain's staff, the EO position was. EO specialist, EO manager, that handle all the EO.
Were you in the Navy?
Civilian working for the Navy.
Oh, I see.
Now, I was Army in Korea, 16 months, discharged and came out, started working for the Navy.
I see.
So I got Navy and Army.
And Army.
Experience.
That's very interesting. Yeah, that's very interesting.
Right. So we had proactive and reactive, and training has to be involved in both.
Yes.
I guess the police association to come with some training program.
And they're trying to get the NAACP involved in that. Yeah. But again, you're going to have to acquire all the information before we can take a position. Not our chapter, but the chapter of, I think that was in North Carolina or South Carolina, one of the Carolinas where this incident happened yesterday or the day before.
I'm not sure.
It's in the South.
One or two, yeah.
It was in the South. But in fact, the reason he may have gotten fired, they said this was not the first allegation against him.
Okay.
That weren't against him. Okay. He'd had 2 or 3 write-ups for civil disobedience with dealing with the public.
Now there's a lot of expertise in the county that the NAACP looking forward to. But we have to get this information out to the NAACP.
Yes.
And I guess the banquet is one way, and you have forums. I guess the NAACP have forums throughout the year, and to get people knowledgeable about. But you have, you mentioned about activities within the branch, and the EXO was a perfect example dealing with the youth. Vernon Jarrett, he was from Chicago.
From Chicago, yes.
He was the one that organized the EXO. And we said EXO was what? Academic...
cultural, technological organization. I think that's what it is. But our director of that...
Oh, I know what. He called it... he called 1966 is when it was organized. It's called Olympics of the Mind.
That's what it was.
It's what he called. And this was, oh boy. Okay, we're going to, I thought I had it written down here, but it's academic, cultural, technological, scientific.
Right.
Olympics.
Olympics.
There we go.
And our director of that, I wish she was able to be here tonight, is Desiree Coles.
Yes, many years she's been.
I think so, and she is passionate about it. I was talking with her last night about it, and she sounds like the way I talk about education. She just loves helping it. I wish we had more students, and please, if there are students out there who want to get involved, we would love to have you. We only currently have 3. But they did win the gold medal at the national convention.
So they start locally at competing.
Competing.
And the one that the first place winners and so forth, they go to the national.
They go to regional.
Oh, regional too.
They go to regional, and then they go to national.
Right.
So yeah, it's really exciting, and it helps the kids to formulate their skills. You know, I know my son. I look at him today, and he's actually in the cabinet in Vermont. He was appointed by the governor. He is a cabinet. He's a liaison between University of Vermont and the governor's office of Vermont. But he started in NAACP. He started as Jack and Jill. So he started all of these, organizations where he learned to develop his skills in forensic speaking and all of that. So I'm looking at what these kids are doing here in North Chicago. You'd be very proud.
Yeah, we're losing so many youngsters, and there are more jails are being built.
Yes, than schools.
Than schools. And I had a senator tell me, Brooks, on a committee, if a bill is brought up about education, it never gets out of committee.
Is that right?
But if anything brought up about prisons, it's out and no discussion.
Because they make money.
Okay. What do they call it? Privatizing? The prisons are privatized.
Right. That's exactly what's happening, and they're making money. They're actually building prisons on a forecast of the future, on third grade education.
Third grade, that lower level. And there's some reason behind that. There must be some reason behind the third grade. But I know each grade they're going to get further and further behind.
They do.
By the time they get in high school, that's when we have so many dropouts.
We do.
Because they won't be able to do the algebra and geometry,
and
trigonometry.
Physics and trigonometry,
right.
Calculus. They can't do it. But the problem is, where we really lose these kids, like people are saying, well, we don't need charter schools. Well, we do need them in high school and middle school. We lose these kids in middle school. We have some very good elementary schools, especially in North Chicago. I think Forest is an exceptional. At least it was.
Because we had naval support.
You have the naval support. Learn 6 is a phenomenal school. I'm sure Learn 9 in Waukegan is going to be a phenomenal school. Where we are losing it, but now Learn 9 and Learn 6 go K through 8.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I think they're going to be the exceptions, but the majority of schools in North Chicago and Waukegan and Zion, they go K through 5. So where you lose them is this drop is 6th, 7th, and 8th. And that's when you get this third grade education surfacing, okay? And you see it because by the time they get to high school, not only are their math skills behind, their linguistic skills are behind.
Okay.
And their social skills are because their, hormones jump in and they change.
Tell us about the secret to this. Wouldn't it be awful helpful to save kids from falling through the cracks if the parents would get involved? Just about the problem with the parents. Do we have the parents coming to the parent-teachers organization, parent-teachers association?
No.
And that's what the wife and I did, and many other parents that the kids finished college.
Oh, I did too.
Right?
Both my kids have only gone
right there.
Not only have my kids finished high school, which is a big deal nowadays if the kids can finish high school.
Okay.
They finished college. One's finished law school, the other one's in medical school. But we were like you. We were hands-on parents. We weren't a part-time parenting. A lot of these parents today are younger. I mean, we're talking about parents who are 14.
Okay.
Okay, literally 14, and the
Okay.
dads are 15 or 13.
Wow.
Okay, so they are kids. How are they going to parent somebody when they're still being parented?
Mm-hmm.
And then even the ones who are 17 having their second child, which is statistics in Lake County, which are overwhelming of
And
teen pregnancy.
it's not unique, right? The teen pregnancy.
Not in our county. And you would think so, because this is considered one of the richest counties in the country.
I know Daisy's Resource, I have mentioned that because I'm hands-on with that. You may be familiar too. A young lady had her second child when she finished, by the time she finished high school. Her second one.
That's not
and
unusual.
In the schools, don't they have daycare or something now?
Which I don't even want to address that, because I think you're making it too convenient for these kids to
Yeah.
have children.
Okay.
But I don't know about Waukegan, but I know North Chicago apparently has a nursery in their school. So to me, you're just condoning it as opposed to teaching against teen pregnancy. You're going to make it comfortable for them.
Okay.
So that's why they go and have 2 or 3 kids. I know at Daisy, there was one girl who had 3.
3.
There was, by the time she was a senior, she'd had 3.
Oh boy.
Okay, and
Okay.
and the father was like 17, and he
Okay.
was the father of all 3.
Okay.
You know, that's just a sad commentary. But we do have a teen pregnancy problem. NAACP is involved in that. We have a teen dropout problem. We have very low graduation rate, contrary to what people want to say. Our ACT at the ACT or SAT, the average at North Chicago is 15.
And you're trying to get 28
Oh, we're gonna get 28.
for your
We're
scholarship.
going to get 28.
And North Chicago ACT average
15.
15.
But in Waukegan, it was 17. And, you know, the problem with that, it's below average, because the highest score is 36. So 15 and 17 are still below average.
I was at Illinois State University. We had a group called the Illinois State Associates. I was a member of that group, and we would recommend high school students had 15 ACTs to school. Now they all didn't finish, but there was some. I know we have she may be listening now, as a teacher at Zion, in Zion Public School, that went on the 15 ACT. But that's maybe that's not a unique situation. It is a
But the
unique
problem is when
situation.
you get a 15 ACT or a 17 ACT,
Okay.
you don't even bother to apply to a school like
Oh, no,
University
no,
of Chicago
no.
or Notre Dame, because you're not going to get in a top tier 1 school. And so when you're getting students who get a high, they say, "Oh, I got 21, I got 22." You're still looking at a tier 2 school. There's
Okay.
nothing wrong with that, but I believe in aiming for excellence. So I want it tier 1. Now, my kids got a 34 and 33. I think a 33 or 34 and 35. But we were like you. We worked hard.
You had
I mean,
to.
your daughter has an EDD.
2.
Yes, and Yolanda, these kids didn't just bring up and do that. They were molded at birth. Literally, it starts at birth. When my kids when I was carrying them, I said, "You're going to go to Harvard." Well, they didn't go to Harvard.
That's a good
They
point.
went to
When
Princeton
my
and-
kids
and-
asked me, I asked them, were they going to college?
Which
They
one?
say, "Daddy, do we have a choice?"
No. No, Yes, they did have a choice. They could have choice which one they wanted to go to.
Right,
But they
right.
didn't have a choice if they were going to go.
Right.
I didn't either. And my kids didn't. And we have to continue that type of parenting. But some of these kids, again, they're kids, raising kids, they don't know anything about going to college. A lot of these kids' parents didn't finish high school. That's what amazed me.
Okay.
All right, now you have a college degree. And so it's a whole different kind of setting in your home. But when you're in a home where kids didn't finish high school, the fathers are in prison, and sometimes mothers are in prison.
Yeah.
And grandparents are raising these kids, and grandparents are tired. So that's what we're dealing with.
What about membership to the NAACP?
Yes, let's get back on point. Our membership is very affordable. Okay, you can get a year-to-year membership at this time for $35.
35. Okay.
Yes, and our treasurer and membership person is Miss Geraldine Dean. She'll want me to say that. It's the Dine. Hughes. And
everyone knows Geraldine.
Do
She's
they?
a member of the Shiloh Mission Baptist
Is that right?
Church.
I call her Miss Geraldine.
And she's a Miss NAACP.
She is.
Yep.
And but if you can get a lifetime membership now for $750, so I guess that's kind of gone up, because I know my mother is a lifetime member.
You can pay installments now, $75 per year.
Per year.
$75.
Or you can even pay $75 a month, whichever one is better for you. It's quicker if you get it that way.
Okay.
But you can pay it in installments.
Okay.
And we'd like you not only to pay them, but to come to the membership meetings and be involved.
Matter of fact, you remember When are your membership meetings? You was at one last night.
I go to all of them. I go to all the membership
And
meetings.
when are they held? Where?
The membership meeting last night was an exception because it was held at North Shore Community Church.
Church of Christ.
But yes.
Christ, Church of Christ. Yeah.
Okay, but they are not, which was 326 Julian Street.
Okay,
that I
okay,
know.
okay.
But they're normally held at the College of Lake County, 1 Genesee.
Yeah, the corner of 1 Genesee Street.
Right. In Washington.
Right across the street from the Associate Bank.
Exactly.
And,
that's what we normally have. I like that sitting a little better because we get to sit at the tables and everything.
Okay.
But last night we had, but it's the 4th Tuesday of every month. So even if there's 5 Tuesdays, it's not the last Tuesday, it's the 4th Tuesday.
Okay.
And our meetings start from 7 to 8 p.m. They're an hour.
Do you have officers meeting?
We do, and our president is Jennifer Witherspoon.
Okay.
So the executive board meets from 6 to 7.
Okay.
You know, I think it might be better if we moved from 5 to 6 because it's getting dark, so I kind of want to move
Yeah,
it
now,
up.
yeah.
But, right, and we meet once a month. And we have a very diverse membership. And people come from all over Lake County.
Okay.
To attend.
Okay. Fantastic. And also you have committees that are formed from
We do.
Yeah, I know the membership is the big one.
It is a
you
big- and
got
then-
your EXO is one.
And then we even have our banquet
the-
committee.
The education committee. you have.
Educational committee. And that is why I'm so glad you said that because we are very, very pro and very strong with emphasis on education.
Okay.
We really do want to see the next generation go a step higher, and we want them to take over NAACP. You know, I want to be able to relax like you. You know, you left in, what, 1980?
Well, the presidency.
As
yeah,
president.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I'm referring to.
But,
But I'm not
at
82 for sure.
82 now, I can't get around like I used to.
Well, see, that's why you
but
need
I can provide.
memberships.
I also provide. Membership committee. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what we
I'd
need.
work on that,
So
yeah.
we need more membership to get involved. AXO, I think, is doing a great job. The X and Ys are very active. They even had their own little banquet this summer.
Ah.
So they're doing very well.
They call themselves the Generation X and
Generation
Y.
X and Y.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you hear that, that's a younger group, younger education.
I try to get with that group sometimes, just make myself feel better. But I realize those days are gone.
Right. Now you have officers. You're third vice president. You have the president, your first vice president, which is Sam Cunningham, and second vice president is
Reverend Stevenson.
Wade Stevenson of the Gideon Mission Baptist Church.
Yes.
And you're the third vice president, and I'm sure you have your duties and responsibilities outlined to take over in case the president is not, because the president cannot be everywhere at the same time.
That's true. And
so
she does
vice
send
presidents.
us to various locations to, if she cannot attend an affair, then one of the other ones will go.
That's right.
Reverend Stevenson, which is so wonderful about him, he's also, I believe, president of the Lakeshore Ministers Alliance.
Yes.
Is that correct?
He's the Lakeshore North Shore, North Shore Ministers.
Okay, maybe
Alliance.
North Shore Ministers Alliance.
Yeah.
So he's very active. And let me tell you who our guest speaker is.
Oh,
You wanna
yeah,
ask
so
me?
we're talking about the banquet, yeah. And what is this called? The,
Freedom Fund Banquet Scholarship.
okay, you got a mouthful there. Freedom Fund Image Awards
Yeah.
Scholarship Banquet.
That is something we need to mention about the Image Awards. We're doing that this year.
Okay.
And our guest keynote speaker is Karen Jordan. Now, you may know her. Does she look familiar?
ABC TV.
Channel 7.
And the anchor person.
She is. She's an anchor on Channel 7. And she is as kind as her face looks.
Okay.
She really is. So she's our keynote speaker this year. She's going to speak on accountability. That is the theme
Okay.
of the NAACP dinner this year. It's called accountability. And in terms of
Very
accountability,
appropriate, very
we're all
appropriate.
accountable. So she's going to speak on that, and we're trying to have some students from Waukegan come from journalism, where she'll be able to meet one-on-one with them
Very
and
good.
talk. Yeah, her husband is a journalist as well.
Father.
No, and her husband.
Oh, is that right?
Right, her father is Robert Jordan on WGN Channel 9.
Exactly.
Her husband is an anchor. His name is not Jordan, but you'll meet him that night.
Anchor in Chicago?
In Chicago. Her husband is also a reporter, excuse me.
A
He's
reporter, okay.
He's a reporter,
missed him.
and they have a 3-year-old daughter.
Fantastic.
So the whole family is involved in journalism. Isn't
and
that something?
they'll be there.
They will. Kind of like your family. You all
Oh, yeah,
EDDs and all these
Yeah, yeah.
PhDs. Well, they're all journalists.
Oh man, that is fantastic. Beautiful.
So we're looking
yeah.
forward to that. So the dinner will be from 6 p.m. until 10 p.m.
Okay.
But from 6 to 7 will be our time where you'll be able to mingle with Miss Jordan one-on-one and, you know, talk with her casually.
Okay.
But we're having a harpist. Well, hopefully we're having a harpist there. And also this year with her, we're having Admiral Stephen Stephen C. Evans. And he's new. He's also new. Like I have my position for 3 months. He's only been in North Chicago, I think, for 5 months. 4 or 5. That's it.
Okay.
And you'll be able to mingle with him during the reception as well. His wife's name is Sheila, and they are new to our community. So we really felt the NAACP's Freedom Fund dinner would be a great opportunity for the community to meet them.
Well, since you've had contact with them, maybe our listening audience will be able to have him see him as a guest on Community Forum.
Oh, absolutely. And when I introduce you to him, we can definitely talk about that. He happens to be, not that it matters, but he happens to be, I believe, the first African-American admiral on the base.
No.
He's not the first? Someone told me he was the first.
The second.
Okay. All right.
Oh,
he's the first since I've been here.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, what's the name? Oh, boy. A very outstanding admiral.
Is that right? And so is this one.
Yeah.
Admiral Evans, you're going to be extremely pleased with him. So it'll be Admiral Evans. He'll have a little bit to say, but our keynote speaker is Karen Jordan.
Okay.
Herself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
It's going to be great.
I'm sure he'll have remarks. Probably.
Yes, and I'm hoping, he knows his black tie. Oh, by the way, the dinner is black tie. And
Okay.
we're taking that seriously. I know in Detroit, we have no problem with getting people to be black tie in Detroit. They just love to
Look
put on.
forward to it.
Oh, give them a reason to put on an evening gown. But here, if you say black tie, people still will come in like after 5s. But
Right.
we just want them to come, but it would be a great chance for them to wear their evening attire and the men put their tuxedos on. So Admiral Evans, I think he's coming in his colors. But
I have to, yeah.
does he? I said, Admiral, can you wear a tuxedo? He says, no, but I'll be formal. I'll be formal. So we'll
Is
see.
that right? Yeah. So this is a fantastic. Matter of fact, the audience may be familiar with the Mid-Lane Country Club.
Yes, the name was changed September 1st.
Okay,
to
just changed.
Westwood.
Okay.
Westwood Banquet Center.
Wedgwood.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Wedgwood. WEDGEWOOD. Wedgwood Banquet Center.
Okay.
However, on the tickets, they will all say Wedgwood Banquet Center, formerly Mid-Lane
Okay,
Country Club.
it's there, so
because
okay.
it's so new, no one's going to know what
Okay.
Wedgwood is.
And there's all types of ticket opportunities too.
Yes, well, individual tickets are $75.
Okay.
Tables, I think there are 8 to a table, so it's $75 per person.
Mm-hmm.
But for students, the tickets are $30. Okay, so, and we have students who actually purchase tickets. I was very surprised.
Is that right?
We have students who are actually purchasing tickets. Well, they want to wear their.
Well, I started out. I have 30 tickets that
Very
I'm
good. That you're committed to selling.
committed to sell.
Okay, well, we appreciate that.
Everybody don't come at me all at once, but I will be seeing you.
Amen. And we're
They
giving
just came out last night too.
They
so,
did.
Yeah.
And the Image Awards this year we're passing out many because we're behind in doing it, actually. In Detroit, they give Image Awards every year. Every year they have Image Awards. And
Okay, right.
And we spoke this year with NAACP, and they said, we want your chapter to distribute those, and you can have various categories. So we have a humanitarian. We have the educator, which I mentioned was Dr. Cassandra Brooks.
Okay.
We have the service organization this year, which is, let me get this right,
Okay.
Harbor Lights Links Incorporated, with an
okay.
ED. So they are the organization. Then we have the schools. So there's various awards to the Lifetime Service Award is going to be, I think, Miss Audrey Nixon.
Oh.
She was a candidate this year. And then the humanitarian is Dr. Daisy Brooks, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
And, so we have many, they have the Minister of the Year award. So we're trying to honor people who have served Lake County. And they're always serving Lake County. But now we want to be able to say thank you back to them for their service to Lake County.
Right.
And NAACP.
This is fantastic, and so to do a job that you're doing, you need. It's not just Tara Thomas, right? It's,
Not at all.
It's you have a lot of support, and that's when
Absolutely.
committee members are so important.
Yes, I mean, one person could not do this. Believe me, you would fall if you. We ran into some glitches, so we kind of got a late start this year with our dinner, unfortunately, because we ran into some glitches. But
Okay,
once we got
that's
up and
always
going,
gonna happen, yeah.
it is. I learned that. This was my first time being a chair. Never again, by the way. But
That's what they all say.
yeah, that, I understand. But but once we got up and going, Megan Witherspoon, for example, she is the chair of X and Y. She just jumped in, and we're all over social media now. So if you go on your social media, you will see NAACP Freedom Fund dinner all hyped up. You know, as a member, you know, you've been phenomenal. We were on your radio station blowing it up. We have PSAs sent out to Channel 7 as well as 102.7. I think that they have PSAs. So, and we're trying to get to some of the newspapers. Ralph Peterson, he's a photographer around, and he's helping. So we're getting the word out, and it seems like it's a rush, and it is because it's November 13th, which is very, you know, like 2 weeks away.
Friday, November 13th.
Yeah, Friday. Oh my goodness, I never thought of that. We're not going to claim that, okay? But it's Friday, November 13th, 6 p.m., and we really want people to come to the reception because it's going to be great.
Okay. Well, this is fantastic. Freedom Fund, Image Award, and Scholarship Banquet, you know, this is fantastic. Now, tell us about some of the challenging experiences that you've had since you've been chairperson. It's your first time chairperson.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, without saying this person's name, because I don't want us to be sued, but we originally had asked another very well celebrity in Chicago. Okay. And we started courting him to be our keynote speaker in May. So we were way up, you know, we thought we had enough time. And he's a pretty big celebrity, so we had to go through his people. You know, when you get famous, you have people. So we went through his people, and they were, you know, they appeared to be very nice, but they drug us on for 4 months. And we had to, they weren't familiar with Lake County, because this person's not from here. And so in answering a lot of their questions, so eventually he said no, after 4 months. So we were like, oh my gosh, we committed to a venue, we committed to people, we committed to organizations. And so I learned that you can't do that. There's a way. First of all, don't let someone drag you on for 4 months. After a month, we should have moved on. So, but that comes with, you would have probably have known that. But I didn't. I believed, you know, I prayed. I said, oh, you know, God is going to let this happen. It didn't happen. But I think we have a wonderful keynote speaker now, and I think it was meant to be, because I'm very happy with her. And she eagerly accepted. Eagerly? She did. She said, oh, I would be pleased to be there. She didn't have us send out a bio of our demographics. We were sending out demographics. We were sending out all kind of, you know, craziness. But she said, no, when do you need me? Now, that is a citizen, but she's from Illinois. This person wasn't from Illinois, but she's from Illinois, and she jumped right on. So in September, she saved us, to me. And she said, oh, yes, whatever I can do. We're not really paying her a fee, so we're trying to be nice. She didn't charge us a fee. Everyone else wants to charge you $10,000.
Right.
She said, it would be my honor and my pleasure to come out there and speak to the people of Lake County. So we need to come out and show up for her, because she's doing this out of kindness of her heart. So that doesn't happen, trust me.
Well, those of us that watch Channel 7, I've been watching Channel 7 for many years. You know, she's a great.
She is, and I hope everybody starts watching Channel 7, you know, because she's watching us. I mean, again, she's doing this gratis. She said, you know, she just wants to come out and meet the people, and she thinks it's an honor. So let's please everyone watch Channel 7 tonight and every other night.
Well, tell us about
excuse me,
the branch itself. I know you're here to sell the banquet, but you can't be here to sell a banquet without some NAACP also, you know.
Well, we want people to come and join. NAACP is in Lake County. And you were correct, and you mentioned that when we say that, it encompasses Highland Park, excuse me, Highland Park, all of Lake County.
Well, they had their own branch at one time.
Right, but now we've merged. So we have Zion, everybody who's in Lake County, and we welcome everyone, and we welcome you to work. And we do a lot of things. You know, we have a very large picnic every year. It's a kickoff really to our Freedom Fund dinner. And this year it was in Waukegan, and we give out backpacks to students. We give out books. We have crayons, pencils, and we also work with Exchange Club. In terms of community days. Exchange Club is very big. I remember Exchange Clubs, I had to plug them in as well. And they are supporting NAACP. So a lot of the organizations, I think that's what's good about Lake County is we do work together.
Now, I sent out through my email process, my whole email list, I blast out the flyer. About
Isn't it a beautiful flyer?
Yeah, by Karen Jones.
Yeah, they had it up a moment ago.
And I got in the Exchange Club last day, I got a copy too. So
Yes, yeah.
I'm sending out blasts, and the Exchange Club sent out
The
to their
Waukegan
membership.
Township, Patricia Jones.
Okay.
She blasted all over her newsletter.
Okay, and it should be, because tell me about the proposed numbers you plan to. I think, if I remember right, the facility can accommodate about 500 people.
450.
Okay, 450.
So we're hoping to fill that up.
Okay.
Let me just tell you some of the entertainment that we're having. Mr. Robert Presley. Did I get that right this time?
Right.
Robert Presley is formerly from North Chicago High School.
Just retired.
Yeah, well, he's not really retired. This man is still kicking.
tried as director
from
of
the
music.
school. Yeah.
Right.
So he has a quartet, a jazz quartet.
Oh, okay.
So they're going to be our entertainment. And I think they might
Fantastic.
even have a singer, which is really nice. They're going to play during the whole evening. And we're hoping to have a harpist the first hour. It'll be a very quiet reception, because they're going to be talking to Miss Jordan. So we didn't want a loud band like Mr. Presley. He's a pretty dynamite guy.
Oh, yes.
So he's doing that. We have a photographer. Everybody's local. We try to utilize as many people from Lake County as possible.
That's fantastic.
I did, as a chairman. I sought out only people from Lake County.
Right. All right, so actually, ultimately, where's your ultimate goal now for the
NAACP? Oh, for the dinner?
I'm sorry, looking at both, but you take dinner first.
Well, we're hoping to have 400 people.
Okay.
That would be awesome.
There's no reason why you shouldn't.
No, and so far it's looking good. I mean, people are buying tables, so we are being very blessed. There are still tickets available. I don't want to scare anybody away.
Okay.
But we are actually selling tables, and I think it's because of Karen. People really want to hear it come out and speak. They want to see it. And the Image Awards. We are giving some very important Image Awards this year, and I'm really excited. In addition, CLC is receiving one for their contribution to college and the students' involvement there. It's going to be different. If you've ever gone to NAACP dinner in the past, I promise you this year it will be different. The dais this year is only going to be the Image Award recipients. Before, I think we used to have our spouses up there. They got bounced down to the tables because there's just no room for them this year.
Oh, yeah.
And so we wanted to use every chair in a valuable way for our recipients. So it's totally different. They're going to be on a dais, double, staircase. It's going to be very nice. Are you coming?
I think I'll come.
I think so.
I think I'll come. I think
so.
the wife and I'll be there.
Oh, I'm looking for, I like the way you say the wife, Dr. Brooks. I like the way she says that.
Right.
And do you know Cynthia Springfield?
Yes.
Because she's a co-chair. Thank you. She's our co-chair this year. So we've got a very great program. We want to thank you and Community Forum for having us on to be able to blast this. Thank you so very much.
I thought so much of it that on the radio program we're on for 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, it was fun.
So
that was fun.
Right.
That was exciting.
To make sure it gets you. You're doing a lot of things, and I like what you're doing. It's not just Waukegan that you're appealing. You're appealing all over the county by having a banquet in
Wadsworth.
Wadsworth.
It's in Wadsworth. Have you been there? It's beautiful.
Oh, many times. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Right. Have you contacted the mayors of cities?
Oh,
I think the
absolutely.
mayors
Mayor Rockingham, I'm so partial. I mean, I like all the mayors, but Mayor Rockingham, and we're also talking to the mayor in Gurnee. She's wonderful.
She's great, yeah.
She's great. So Mayor Rockingham, he's always on the case. He's our mayor of the year.
Oh, mayor of the year.
He's our mayor of the year. So, yes, and I don't want to give away everybody, because then when
you wouldn't be partial with that, would you?
I am partial to Mayor Rockingham. I'll tell you that right now. I think he's an okay guy. Let the records show.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, again, we've been talking with Mrs. Tara Thomas. She's third vice president of the NAACP, Lake County branch, and she's chairperson of the Freedom Fund Awards Image Banquet, which is going to be held again at Friday, November 13, 2015, 6 to 10 p.m. at Wedgwood Banquet Center, and that's formerly the Mid-Lane Country Club. She has Karen Jordan of ABC 7, news anchor reporter, will be the main speaker. She's on the screen there. Beautiful young lady, and she's a fantastic job as anchor. Matter of fact, her father's is an anchor.
He's on WGN.
WGN.
And he will be there.
And also
her husband, and he's a reporter for Channel 7.
Right.
And he will be there.
It's going to be a great evening, and we're going to be
Yes.
looking for
And we have a great
If-
dinner as well.
a great dinner. It's going to be more than chicken, right?
Yes, sir. No chicken.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have committed myself 30 tickets as I got those tonight. Matter of fact, they were just released last night, right?
Just right off the press.
So I'll be right on the phone.
And you know Marcella, she designed.
Marcella Harden.
Yes, I want to thank her before we go. She's doing a great job on our souvenir book, our tickets, and all
Okay.
our PR.
You can always count on Marcella Harden. She works with the Ron McAllister
Yes.
Publishing Chicago.
She's phenomenal.
And she also been a co-host for Community Forum.
Oh, has she?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, she did a great job. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Community Forum. My name is Dr. Waddell Brooks Sr., your host.